everybody? It's Benny One, and I'm back at you with another X-Men movie review, and we're moving on to the First Class trilogy of movies, everybody. That is correct. So today we're reviewing X-Men First Class. Came out in 2011. This movie was directed by Matthew Vaughn, and we got some new coming stars that are playing some iconic characters in this movie, everybody. We have James McAvoy playing Professor Xavier himself, Charles Xavier. And then we also have Michael Fassbender playing Eric Lencher, Magneto. And Jennifer Lawrence plays Mystique, everybody, Raven. And we also get young versions of Beast. Jesus, who else is in this movie? We have Banshee, all sorts of stuff. Havoc, Cyclops' brother. There's all sorts of cool characters in this movie. And this movie takes place there in the 60s. We get to see when Xavier and Magneto meet each other and build the X-Men, and the very beginnings, the groundwork of what the X-Men movie universe would be. I gotta tell you, after X-Men Origins Wolverine came out, this was the next movie that came out. And this reignited, refueled, and relaunched the X-Men movie franchise. Because after X-Men Origins Wolverine, they were in some muddy water. And then I remember when this came out, I went to a midnight premiere of this, and I remember walking out of the movie theater that night loving the hell out of this movie. Because this movie takes place in the 60s, and it's a great time for this to take place because of the Cold War aspect. And that's what Kevin Bacon is, the villain in this movie, by the way, you guys. And he's a bad villain. He's great villain. It's always interesting to see Kevin Bacon in a damn movie, because the guy, since like the 80s and early 90s, he hasn't really done a lot of movies. And this was a surprising role that he got cast to play, and he did a phenomenal job. He really did. And he also is the reason why Magneto gets his helmet, because the Russians made it for him, and Magneto ends up with it. So, and him and Magneto have a past, because this movie opens up with the very beginning scene from the original X-Men movie. They reshot it, recast everybody, obviously. They recreated the scene very faithfully, too, I will say. They very faithfully recreated that whole opening scene with Eric when he's a kid and his parents are being taken away in the Jewish camps with the Nazis and stuff. See, that's the thing, like X-Men Origins Wolverine, that's how you recreate a scene. You pretty much make it exactly the same. It wasn't like 100% accurate, like the same, but it was pretty damn close. Like 90% close, I would say. You morons. Jesus. Sorry. Little rant left over from X-Men Origins Wolverine. But yeah. And that's where the movie begins, and this is where Kevin Bacon and Eric have their relationship start, because he's one of the people working for the Nazis, and he wants Eric to show off his powers again, and he kills his freaking mom because Eric can't make it happen. But then Eric gets pissed and basically destroys that office. The two freaking soldiers that are in there and everything. He goes crazy because he figures out that anger triggers his powers. So and then we get the young Charles introduction at his house, his mansion that we've seen in the movies, and Raven is in his house as a little girl, and they get introduced and become basically brother and sister. And then we kind of fast forward to the 60s, and we get to catch up with Xavier and Magneto and what they're doing. And Xavier is freaking trying to become a professor, and he's out drinking, partying, trying to pick up chicks with his smartness about mutant genes and shit, which is funny stuff. And then Magneto's basically hell-bent on revenge, going around killing all the generals and stuff from what happened to him when he was a kid. And then they eventually meet each other and decide to work. They end up working with the government. That's what's interesting, is when mutants first get kind of revealed, at least out to the public, and the government like actually decides to work with them. And that's where Magneto and Professor X, even though they're not considered that yet in this movie, Xavier and Eric, they end up working together. Charles convinces Eric to work with him, stay with him, and help him find these other mutants, and they're going to build this team to help out with Kevin Bacon's character. So it's just, the movie is fun. It's got a little James Bond-ish feel to it because of the era that it takes place. It's got your X-Men feel to it. It's got lots of cool action. We get introduced to some really cool X-Men characters that we haven't seen, like Havoc and Banshee. Like, Banshee's awesome. They did such a cool job with Banshee in this movie, you guys. Like, such a cool job. Havoc was cool. It's just cool. It's cool. It was cool to see these younger versions of these characters that we've already seen in movies. Like, I mean, you got Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart playing these two iconic characters, you know, Xavier and Magneto. Like, and they do such a good job playing these younger versions of these characters. Like, because I'm going to say this, and I probably will not be agreed with on this entirely, but freaking, I think that the younger version of Magneto in these movies is better than the one that Ian McKellen did. Not that I dislike his version of Magneto, but Michael Fassbender's version of Magneto, I like it more. The guy just seems more like the villain Magneto that we had in the comics and the cartoon series and everything. He just seems more like Magneto. And it's nothing against Ian McKellen. It's nothing against him. I liked his Magneto, but I honestly prefer Michael Fassbender's Magneto. And I hope that they bring some of these people into the MCU. I hope they keep some of these people from the X-Men franchise, because McAvoy and Fassbender are great younger versions of these characters. They do a phenomenal job. In fact, I think everybody that got cast to play the younger Beast, the younger Jennifer Lawrence did a fabulous job playing Mystique, even though I'm pretty sure she'd done, because there's a lot of controversy and shit going on with her in the last movie that they made. Well, the last couple movies that they made, because this group made 4 movies. So the movie's awesome though, you guys. It has great action, great story, great set of characters. The movie flows pretty damn well with the plot and the story that it's telling with our characters, the interactions. It's a good X-Men movie. It's one of the better ones. So I'm going to give X-Men First Class, I'm going to give it I think it's a 9 out of 10. I think it's one of the best ones that they've had in the franchise. So I'm slapping a 9 out of 10 for X-Men First Class, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Subscribe if you're new to my channel. I appreciate it. Like the video, everybody. I appreciate that. You guys rock. You're awesome. And I'll be catching you on Tube laters, because I have spoken.